Alright, so I'm back here with another review of my GFC 19 run. This will be the top 16 match, so it's day 2 and deck lists have been posted at this point. It's going to be a Chaos Turbo Mirror match. His deck is very anti-turbo. He plays 2 Dust Shoot, 2 Wing Blast, Kaiku, all in the main deck. So, game 1 might be a little tough. Let's just get right into it. So, I lose rock, paper, scissors. He starts with Thunder Dragon and Set Monster. So standard play here for me would just be using Nobleman and Set Koichi. There is another option here. You could technically hold the Nobleman and just go for Dekoichi Mirror Force and hope that this Mirror Force hits the Gravekeeper Spies. Since Mirror Force is not that valuable versus Turbo, while Knock is very valuable, trying to get the Mirror Force on Spies seems pretty good. So that's just something to consider in these kind of situations. But Nobleman is way more standard, and I do go for the Nobleman play here. But I think the Mirror Force play could be better, maybe. This play will... it'll stop, like, Dekoichi, of course. It'll stop Night Assailant. It might keep him off Darks for a little while. So it's just a Koichi, don't set Mirror Force, don't set Solemn. The reason you don't set Solemn is because you would think that he would have already used Graceful Charity on his first turn. So it's not like I'm gonna set Solemn and then hit Charity, unless he top decks Charity. And you don't set Solemn just for a 1 in 30, where the breaker could already be in hand, way more likely than 1 in 30. So yeah, that's basically it. He goes for just a Set Monster, passes. I draw Serpent. Just start by flipping the Dekoichi, which gives me Upstart. Use that, which gives me card destruction. So this is a spot where I actually would like to card destruction, but unfortunately I know that he has 2 Thunder Dragons, and his hand is looking to be kind of monster heavy. So if I card destruction, I'm just loading up his graveyard with Lights and Darks and allowing him to get to his Trinity pieces. So I would have to draw really good off that card destruction in order for me to not lose, pretty much. It's definitely still worth considering, because you could still draw the second knock. There's Pot Graceful Duo, of course. Yeah, but I decide not to use it. I just go for an attack here, which hits Koichi. And main phase 2 is another tough decision. I don't think you want to set Serpent, because like what does that really accomplish? I'd rather keep it in hand to maybe go for some kind of YOLO card destruction. Still don't want to set Mirror Force because, again, it plays into the breaker. It would deter BLS attacking me for 4,600. But even if he did do BLS for 46, I would have Breaker Snatch to out that. And then there's Chaos Sorcerer. Chaos Sorcerer could just be special summon in defense mode and banish my Dekoichi, which plays around Mirror Force. So overall, the Mirror Force is just not very good here. There's still Solemn Judgment. He is drawing 2 fresh cards this turn, so maybe you could set Solemn, but again, it just gets destroyed by Breaker. So I just take the chance and just pass turn here. So he drops the Breaker now. So I'm thinking that's pretty nice that I was able to force him to drop the Breaker without me setting any of my traps. And he sets a back row. So this spot now. First thing you have to do is try and consider what the back row can be. So this is a spot where he had 8 cards in hand, and he would have had to discard in the end phase if he doesn't set a back row. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like MST or something that interacts with Snatch. Like, it could very well just be a spell card, like, I don't know, Knock. I mean, Knock is really doubtful, but it could be something like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be MST. So I think that's why I just go for Snatch here. There is another option to go like Breaker first and then Snatch. But then I'm kind of just like committing to Solemning heavy. Anyway, I do just go for Snatch, and he does have MST, which is unfortunate. So now it's going to be between... I can consider just crashing breakers so that I can set my traps, or at least one of the traps. Or I can just set Serpent and try to just block an attack from him. I know he plays the 1 Kaiku, so it's definitely a risk to make that kind of play. Whereas if I summon Breaker, maybe set Mirror Force, where's the risk in that? I don't really see a risk. I probably should summon Breaker, but I get a little greedy and just go for Serpent to try and block damage, and maybe still try to get a card D off. It seems a little unlikely with the BLS in hand. And he does have Kaiku, so I'm just pretty destroyed here now. I draw Torrential. So now I have to summon Breaker, and I have to decide what do I want to attack with Breaker. If I summon Breaker, attack Kaiku, I allow this Breaker to still be here and get a +1 on me next turn. Unless I just leave the Breaker out there without setting anything. But if I don't set anything, I'm just going to lose almost surely. What I end up doing is just summoning Breaker, crashing Breakers, and then setting the 3 traps with the intention of using Mirror Force on Kaiku and using Solemn on Heavy Storm. It's not great. Every spot in this game has been pretty mediocre, unfortunately. So he goes and just attacks, and I have to Mirror Force because if I draw Thunder Dragon, the BLS becomes live. If I allow, then Thunder Dragon is just useless. I draw into Ring, so now I have BLS, Ring, Solemn, so there's some potential to steal the game away. But can't do anything yet, so just set Ring and pass. He flips up Faith and has only MST Engrave. Definitely no reason to Solemn that. So I just allow it. He MSTs and hits Torrential. Tributes for Thunder Dragon, and he will summon Chaos Sorcerer. With me having Torrential Mirror Force gone, he is free to make this aggressive play safely. And I just have to ring the Chaos Sorcerer. And now I just pretty much need Thunder Dragon. That's not Thunder Dragon, it's just set the Dekoichi and pass. He attacks. Sets a monster in a back row. I hold Prio here, and I do have the option to use Book to stop Death Shoot, but what does that really do? It doesn't do anything, so I just pass priority. And he does have Death Shoot. I didn't see much of a reason to use Solemn here. And he goes for double Death Shoot, so one of those Death Shoots do nothing. And now I'm forced to just use Card Destruction and pray for insane luck. I just draw Faith Heavy, which are not going to help me. I have no good spells engraved. He flips Knight Assailant and then uses Knock, and I lose. So I go first now. Just use Upstart here. Just in case anybody's wondering, like, I know some people like to sometimes hold Upstart and try to resolve Spy first or get it knocked. Just don't do that. Just use Upstart. There's so many good cards to draw. There's Jar of Greed, Dust Shoot, Thunder Dragon. And there's other stuff too. There's Thunder Dragon. Set Spy. The reason you set Spy here, obviously I have 3 choices. I could, even 4 choices. I have Knight Assailant as well. Obviously not setting Knight Assailant because you want to keep that in hand for the duo. if he activates Duo, I would have 4 cards that he would be able to hit that do nothing. So we're not setting Night Assailant. So it's between Spy, Dekoichi, Sangan. The reason I choose Spy, so first off, if he has Knock and has a Spy in his hand, the Spies in his hand will now be dead because they all get banished from the deck. Also, if he has Knock, all his Spies get banished, so I'll start being free to get aggressive with this Kaiku, and I know there won't be any Spies that'll be able to block it. What else? If he mind controls, I don't really care that much. That would be the only benefit to having Sangan, would just be mind control. But yeah, if he mind controls Spy, I don't care that really. I'll just be able to play defensively next turn as well. And of course, just setting the Spy to resolve it as soon as possible so you don't draw another one. So he upstarts and sets 2 back row. When he sets 2, I'm probably thinking Dust Shoot. Or something chainable like Jar Greed. So he doesn't do anything yet. There still could easily be Dust Shoot because holding Dust Shoot until after Turbo Player flips the monster is a very common play. I decided to go for attack mode Spy because I just want to bait the Torrential or Mirror Force or whatever. Mostly Torrential. Like, you don't want them to just decide to hold Torrential and then get a bigger Torrential off. So just put it in attack mode and get aggressive here. There are some spots where you go defensively, but this hand, I think, wants to play in an aggressive way, not defensive. And he does just use Torrential. Okay, now what? Alright, he uses Dust Shoot. He uses Dust Shoot and puts back Sangan. So this is the interesting spot now. What does putting back Sangan mean? He's left me with the Dekoichi. He didn't use Knock last turn, so he almost certainly doesn't have Knock. I mean, it's definitely possible that he held it, but he very likely doesn't have Knock. But he left me a Dekoichi. And if I were to set Dekoichi and flip it, I get like really far ahead in this game. So what I'm thinking is he very, very likely has mind control and wants me to just set Dekoichi and thinks I'm just going to play into it. But I'm not that stupid. I'm now just going to go for Night Assailant. If he sets a monster, Night Assailant will be able to flip, kill, and then do something else. If he mind controls, that's fine. Do you set MST? So he wouldn't have summoned Breaker last turn. And he has already set, if he had any other chainables, like Jar of Greed or something, he would have already set it, right? So I'm not that worried about end phase MSTing like a Jar of Greed, as I would be on if I had this MST on turn 1. Because now I'm playing into more Breaker. And he could just have other cards like Mirror Force and Ring that MST could just destroy anyway without end phasing. So that's why I don't set MST. So he draws Pot and then Duo, which hits my MST. Okay. So the discard is obviously Thunder Dragon, correct? However, he knows that there is a Knight Assailant in the hand. So I do... Let me just go to the log here, just to see how long I take to discard Thunder Dragon. So I take 20 seconds, and I viewed Graveyard. Why I do this is because I'm trying to give off the illusion that I'm thinking about discarding the Knight Assailant to grab back Spy. Whereas if I just automatically discard Thunder Dragon, he'll think I probably just set Knight Assailant. So by thinking, I still make him think that I probably set Koichi. Because I need to get him to use mind control here. So yeah, that was really important. And he will be using mind control. And he knows it. He knows he's about to get baited. But I played it really well. Okay, so all he does is set a back row. He still doesn't have any monster. If he had any monster, he would always set it, because he knows my hand has no answer to set monsters. So I just use Upstart, which gives me Wing Blast, so that's a good card. Again, he has no monsters in grave, so my only play here is just set to Koichi and shift Knight Assailant to defense mode. And of course set Wing Blast. He attacks the Knight Assailant with Sangan. So Sangan is drawn, because he would have definitely played that last turn. Okay, my turn. I draw Chaos Sorcerer. Just start by flipping to Koichi. And I draw Serpent. So Torrential's gone. So I can very safely summon this Chaos Sorcerer to try to banish the Sangan. Is there any benefit to using Wing Blast on back row? No, there's not. Okay, so he has the Book of Moon to save the Sangan. So now I have to think. I could use Wing Blast, discard Serpent, and then probably summon Kaiku, attack for 3,200. And that will just get owned by Tribe. It'll get owned by Snatch. So that's not really the play I want to do. What is the play, though? Do I just attack with Koichi? And maybe summon Kaiku? Okay, so first, let me just get to the... I end up making a mistake here. Let me just skip to that part. So I put Dekoichi to defense mode, which I couldn't do because I flipped it on this turn, and he reminds me in the end phase. So we end up rewinding to the point where the Dekoichi was switched, which it was switched before I set the monster, so I get to rewind my set monster. And I end up just going for the summon Kaiku line, which is really aggressive, and I'm just going to lose the tribe here. I just don't really see a good play here. I don't see anything. Like, there was maybe just pass, let him crash Sangan. I don't really see how I win that way, though. So he goes for Charity after searching Serpent. Discards Serpent and Dust Shoot. Plays Mind Control on Chaos Sorcerer. So I'm okay with this. I could chain Wing Blast to put Sorcerer on top, but there's no way that's ever worth it. He sets monster in a back row. I don't know why I just hovered over it. I could end phase Swing Blast something, but I decide not to. I draw into Breaker. So Torrential's gone. So I get to just summon Breaker and break. He has Wing Blast, which he decides not to chain. And I just have to use Wing Blast here. And attack. And he had Serpent Engrave, which I banish. So now he's on a 1-turn clock. He has to answer this right now. He just sets his monster again, which could very easily be Spy. Do I have a play that plays around Spy? So I can't beat Spy yet. I remember what I was thinking is I wanted to make it so that I still win through Tsukuyomi. So I go for main phase 1 Chaos Sorcerer. Unfortunately, I make a mistake here and attack with Chaos Sorcerer. I don't know why I did this at all. Because now I'm putting Spy in Graveyard, where I would rather want to banish it. Was there some kind of Night Assailant? No. I beat all Night Assailants. Yeah, I have no idea why I attacked with Sorcerer. That was just bad. In phase 2, I'm thinking about setting Serpent. And I do. You could definitely make this play because I'm technically not locked. I can just... Well, you can't be locked when you have a Chaos Monster, basically. So he goes for Thunder Dragon, and I'm just going to get punished here. Goes for Breaker. Attacks over Kaiku. I guess I'm not being that punished. He would still have been able to put this Spy to attack mode and crash it to summon his Chaos. But I did allow him to have an extra monster on field because of this. So now I need to find an out. I can't out any of its monsters right now. So I draw Knight Assailant. Just set that. I decide to keep the monsters in attack mode and take damage so that Spy can't attack over them freely. Which might be a mistake, because Spy can still attack over my set monsters anyway. I do make him make a decision on how to do it though. So he attacks my monsters for damage, and then attacks my old monster. Does he know that's Serpent? I can't remember if I showed it yet. I did show it. Yes, I did. So he knows that that one's Serpent. And I draw the absolute best card in my deck, Tribe, which is insane. He thought for a really long time in standby phase, and now he's going to think again, and he finally allows it. And I'm going to summon Tribe, priority, destroy his whole field, and attack, and he goes for Wing Blast. So suddenly I've completely turned the game around. Let's see his graveyard. Torrential's gone, so I'm obviously just summoning Tribe. I'm trying to win the game. And if he does out the Tribe, I still have Knight Assailant to out whatever outed the Tribe. So this is very safe to just go for Tribe attack. He sets a monster, and I get to just flip Knight Assailant, and he just scoops. So he sets double back row on a monster. I currently have no monsters in hand, so if he has Dust Shoot, he's going to go -1. Unless I draw a monster. I do draw a monster, unfortunately. Only play here is Knock. And so he knows the hand. I think it's Jar Torrential. Could do just Jar by itself also. Jar by itself, and then maybe chain Jar to Breaker's trigger effect and then Snatch Breaker. He doesn't really have much reason to summon Breaker into that though. I just go Jar Torrential. And he does hit the Jar with MST. Plays Thunder Dragon. He thinks really hard and sets a monster. I draw Faith. With Torrential set, I just got a pass turn here. He flips up Spy, and I just have to Torrential. He's definitely never playing into Torrential, and I'm not that worried that I'm making Chaos live here because I have Snatch plus Ring for that. He goes for Breaker, and he knows I have Snatch. Okay, this was a really, really difficult turn. Let's see, he has known two Thunder Dragons. Let's see. Let's just think about the options. I could set Faith Ring. That would be one of the most standard plays. Of course, when I do that, he just gets a free breaker for ring trade and then gets to summon chaos. Doesn't necessarily do that much with chaos. At worst, he goes BLS Spanish Faith. Still has all the knocks, all the mind controls. Yeah, Faith Ring does seem like pretty standard. Remember that he's summoning this breaker into known snatch. So he has a counter just in case I do that, which tells me possible heavy storm. So what I end up making is like a really weird line. I just go for Tribe, discard Magician of Faith. And let me try to explain this play. How do I explain this play? So basically I'm trying to get damage in while also getting the light into my graveyard. So I'm basically saying I'm blanking knock for this game. I'm just going to summon everything from here. And I have a hand that does a lot of damage. And it deals with chaos. The spies are gone already. The Dekoichis are gone already. Faith doesn't really do anything. So I can get aggressive here. And again, I'm putting a light in my graveyard, which will matter eventually. And if he goes Heavy Storm here, I still have Snatch that he has to play around. Again, I don't really know if this play was good. I was just feeling a little creative. Set Faith, Set Ring was a little more standard. He goes for Snatch, Tribe, Attack. No reason for me to ring. And then he Tribute Sets, which plays around my Snatch. I draw into Serpent. I just set that to try and block damage. And he plays Mind Control. I couldn't tell if that was top decked. Would maybe save myself. If I had set Faith, that would have been a bit worse. Flips the Thunder Dragon. He thinks really hard. He's thinking about Chaos Sorcerer. But he knows I have Snatch and Ring. So that's making it really awkward for him. And he doesn't have game because he didn't go into it. He just sets a monster. Okay. Now what do I do? I just gotta go for Mind Control. Definitely. Mind Control the set monster. And it's Night Assailant, which is actually pretty good here. Gets rid of the pressure of the Thunder Dragon, and I just get to put Serpent in defense. I know he still has one Thunder Dragon in hand, and he was thinking really long last turn, so I'm thinking the other card is probably Chaos, and he still needs to play around my Snatch and Ring. He draws Sangan and attacks and decides to attack for 200. And now I draw Duo, which is really, really good. So yeah, me having Snatch and Ring made it so that he just couldn't play this Chaos Sorcerer, because then I would just have Snatch for it, and he had no answer to that Chaos Sorcerer if I snatched it. So that made him play passively, and I drew Duo to punish. What's the play now? If I snatch Sangan... No, we're not doing that. I think I'm just setting Serpent. If he draws Chaos in the situation that I set Serpent, is that game? Let me think. No, it would not be game. I would just have to ring Sangan in that situation. So he just attacks me for another 200, sets a back row. I draw into Nobleman, take the Serpent back. He still has Dust Shoot in his deck. He still has Heavy. He does have Heavy. Would he have used Heavy? I don't think so. I think my play is still setting Serpent. The question is, do I set a bluff next to it? And yeah, I think I have to, just to kind of deter him a little. I do get owned by Set Heavy Storm, but it is what it is. He goes for Book on Night Assailant, which is really weird. I think about this for a little bit, but then I decided that if he drew into a monster, he would just be able to OTK me through my ring. So I just have to ring here. And since he knew I had ring, I was thinking he probably drew something like Dekoichi. Well, not Dekoichi, can't have any more Dekoichis, but Tribe or something. But he doesn't have anything. He just attacks and sets a monster. I take back the Serpent. Flip my face down knock. Now it's between Serpent and Night Assailant. I don't banish any more Night Assailants from my knock, so I either sided one out or I have one in my hand. So how do I play this now? If I set Serpent, I die to Chaos. But he might think that I set Night Assailant and not summon Chaos. That's possible. If I set Night Assailant and he just attacks, he gets to search for, I guess, Faith. Yeah. I could snatch, set Night Assailant. This is such a rough spot. I don't even remember what I end up doing. I go for Serpent. So I'm just saying, don't draw Tribe, don't draw Chaos. I need one more turn. That's what I'm saying. He draws into Serpent, so that Sangan can do 1,000 damage. I draw into Wing Blast, which is really good. So at this point, I have to play Snatch in order to block the damage. Attack for 700. And now I'm going to try and set up a Wing Blast Night Assailant play, which will take back Magician of Faith, which takes back the Nobleman's. And yeah, just set the Serpent. May not have been necessary. No, it was necessary because of Heavy Storm. No, wait. I still lose the Heavy Storm anyway. Yeah, probably wasn't necessary. But I was feeling pressured in this spot and felt like adding a monster to my field would help me. Just making sure that the Serpent wasn't necessary. I mean, I guess it doesn't really do anything in my hand, right? It baited Nobleman. I draw into Regeki Break. So here I can just go for Wing Blast. Take the Faith. I know he's going to draw Serpent. So I just set Faith. And Regeki Break. I draw Upstart, so play the Upstart, which gives me Pot. I use Pot. I draw into a Solemn, flip the Faith, take Pot again, draw into Thunder Dragon Kaiku, and now suddenly the game's just unlosable. Literally can't lose. He draws the best card in his deck, Heavy Storm, but I have Solemn. I'm just going to attack with everything. And I have Regeki Break for anything that he can possibly draw. I'll just fast forward the rest of this. It's just over now. He sets a back row, I Regeki Break, and that's it. Yeah. Pretty much everything went badly for me for all 3 games, but I somehow found a way to win 2 of them. So it was kind of a lucky top 16. But I also think I played really well in some spots. I might have made some mistakes in some spots. So yeah, that's all for this video, and I'll be back with the top 8 match at some point. Thanks for watching.